You're listening to Offshoring and Outsourcing Philippines. Our regular podcast that looks at the BPO industry in the Philippines and the opportunities for both offshoring and outsourcing as they might apply to customers in Australia, New Zealand, the US, UK, Canada, in fact anywhere in the world. The Philippines, as you know, has some wonderful resources for offshoring, including a large English-speaking population, an excellent education system, and a wages structure that makes it commercially viable to invest in the Philippines. Shortly you'll be hearing my colleague Henry Acosta, who will tell you who's been interviewed for this episode. We interview people who run business process outsourcing companies, people who are customers of business process outsourcing, people who have been customers and are now not customers, so good, bad or ugly. We like to talk to people and share their experiences in the offshoring and outsourcing industry with you. Each week you'll hear our presenters interviewing Philippines businesses or customers of Philippines businesses. The presenters are myself, Wayne Buckler, Patrick Reyes and Henry Acosta.
For our first interview, we have Victor Viana of Triple Consulting, and his interview starts at the 1 minute and 55 second mark of the podcast. For our second interview, we have Adam O'Connor of Cloudstaff Philippines, and his interview starts at the 27-minute mark of the podcast. For our last interview, we have James Pacaba of Flipside Digital Content Company Incorporated, and his interview starts at the 35-minute and 15-second mark of the podcast. Hi, it's Henry Acosta. I'll be your host for today. Welcome to the Outsourcing and Offshoring in the Philippines podcast. Today we have Victor Viana. He's the Sales and Marketing Director of Triple Consulting here in the Philippines. Triple Consulting offers a lot of business services including accounting outsourcing, corporate compliance, call center office setup, and management consulting. Victor has lived around the world in countries such as Netherlands, Indonesia, Singapore, and now the Philippines. He has a diverse background and a lot of experience in Southeast Asian markets that allowed him to successfully assist over 100 companies enter and grow in the Philippine market. Hi Victor, welcome and pleasure to have you on the show.
Hi Henry, good afternoon. The pleasure is mine.
And for our first question to start off the interview, can you give us a quick introduction about who you are, what exactly do you do for Triple Consulting?
Yes, so as you've mentioned, my name is Victor. I'm originally from Portugal, and I have been living in the Philippines for the last 4 years. My first experience outside Portugal, where I'm originally from, was in Indonesia, where I worked for 2 years in Jakarta for the working in diplomacy. I was working at the Embassy of Portugal as the economic counselor. After Indonesia, I moved to Netherlands, where I worked in the logistics sector. And then I came back to Singapore, where I helped e-commerce startup. And then I was invited to join Triple back in 2012, which I did. And has been proven to be a great decision from my side. At Triple as you said, I'm the sales and marketing director. So I oversee all the communication and relationship between Triple and its customers across different industries. You covered some of the services that we provide, such as business registration, accounting, tax consulting, environmental consulting as well. Aside from overseeing the communication and relationship between Triple and its clients, we make sure that the Philippines is promoted out there, and we serve as a partner for several chambers of commerce and governmental bodies that aim to promote Philippines outside as a country where companies should come and just set up and to have their business grown in the Philippines.
What gave you the inspiration of moving here to the Philippines and working here with Triple Consulting?
Well, what attracted me in the Philippines was, aside from being one of the fastest growing economies in Asia, was the fact that there is so much potential in this country in so many ways, and so many things still have to be done that for me that was very challenging. I know the sort of difficulties and challenges that companies from Europe or United States or other regions face when coming to such a different area of the globe, and being part of an organization that helps these companies overcoming these challenges that they have and these hurdles that they face. It's very challenging for me, and it's great opportunity to promote the Philippines, to help companies to understand the local market and opening the door to a different country. It's great. I mean, helping so many companies to expand their business to such a different country and making them understand how the country works and the specifics of a particular culture and industry. For me, it's very challenging and rewarding as well. Seeing how many business have grown starting from zero, and now we see companies of ours generating millions of dollars and having hundreds of employees in their organization is obviously very rewarding for us.
What makes the Philippines different compared to other countries that service outsourcing, and what are the main benefits of doing it here?
Well, definitely the language, right? Language, and the fact that English is a language that most part of the Filipinos speak, brings to the Philippines a great edge over other countries. When you compare to countries that have similar economies, such as Indonesia or Vietnam, countries that are in the same level in terms of, or at least similar in terms of like GDP per capita, like countries that are not that mature, developing countries. It's definitely a great edge that Philippines has, is the fact that everyone speaks English. Aside from that, you don't have the sort of cultural shocks that you have in other countries. Everyone speaks, I mean, due to its history, Philippines, as we know, was initially a colony from Spain, then after American. So people have the similar culture and habits that Western companies have. People are shown to be extremely friendly, hardworking, very willing to learn and develop and grow with the know-how that companies bring to the Philippines. And we see there's also many Filipino companies that are right now becoming very competitive, not only locally, but also outside the Philippines in several industries. So yeah, aside from English, I would say that the fact that the cultural impact is much lower when compared to other countries makes the Philippines a great entrance to the Asian continent for several companies.
So when you first moved here, were there any cultural barriers that you faced during your transition period here in the Philippines?
Well, there are some, okay? There's always some cultural challenges no matter where you go to. I am from Portugal. If I move to Spain, which is the only country that we have a border with, there will still be some cultural challenges that you will always face. In Asia, of course, even more, from someone coming from Europe. In the Philippines, there are definitely less cultural barriers when compared to some of its neighbors, but there is some. I guess that one of the issues that us Europeans mostly struggle with is the aversion to say no, right? There is a certain lack of aversion to the word no. People avoid confrontation. People always like to have sort of like an harmonious relationship, which sometimes makes it hard because coming from Europe, we tend to be more straightforward. But in the Philippines, we have people who are very friendly and they sometimes shy. So they rather have this sort of attitude where they would tend to always say yes, even if they might think the opposite or have a different opinion than you. They they hesitate in showing their opinion, which is something that you learn how to overcome by creating a sort of environment where you have to show that you are open to criticism, and you create this sort of atmosphere where all sort of ideas kind of bubble up, and everyone is open-minded, and they have to feel free to give their opinion, and understand that nothing will really happen to them if they will raise their concerns or their opinion, even if it's against what the top management is saying. So yeah, I would say that is one of the cultural barriers that you face in the Philippines, is the aversion to the word no, which is similar to what you encounter in Indonesia, for example.
What do you think makes Triple I Consulting different from other outsourcing agencies that are already here in the Philippines?
Well, I guess it's the fact that, I cannot speak by my industry peers, of course, but what I can tell you about Triple I and what is our focus is simplifying business, okay? Philippines is not an easy country sometimes, aside from the red tape. It's not sometimes an easy country to set up a company, for example. And we intend to simplify business. And the way we simplify business is putting the client's interest in the first place, understanding his struggles. And we are here not to provide services for a one-time thing project. We are here to develop long business relationships with our clients, and during the entire life cycle that the company has in the Philippines. And that's why we always provide these services, and we tend to be a one-time shop. We want not only to serve our clients, we want to work with them. We vision clients as sort of a partnership where we start working with our clients from the moment of incorporation, and help them throughout his entire business in the Philippines, allowing our clients to purely focus in growing their business, in boosting their sales, their revenue, and leaving anything related to the corporate compliance, such as payroll, such as accounting, such as any sort of corporate compliance, to us. So our focus is our clients, and the success of our clients is our success. And that's our vision, simplifying business and helping our clients to grow their business. We are not here to have a one-time sort of project with our clients. We are here to work with our clients throughout their entire cycle in the Philippines.
How has been the experience of your clients, and can you give us any testimonials from them?
Well, as in any other country, you have successful stories, you have sad stories, right? It's business. You have companies who are successful, you have companies to fail, because this is not the ideal market for them, because the decision the market was too soon, they were not ready for this market, they have not studied, they don't have the demand, they do not have the right product, or they didn't know how to sell the product. So you have good and bad stories, right? But what I can tell you is that 90% of our clients, it's important to understand, 90% of the clients of Triple I, they are foreign companies, okay? Companies that are exporting to the Philippines, or that they are incorporating in the Philippines for the first time. They are coming from countries such as Singapore, or United States, or Malaysia, or Australia, from several different parts of globe. And the most part of our clients, they also come from, obviously, from the BPO sector. And it is incredible. I mean, we have several companies that they started with 5, 10, 15 people in their workforce. And 2 or 3 years later, when they initially, if you would ask them from the beginning, they would say like, yes, our plan in the first 2 or 3 years would be to grow to 50 people, and you see now they have like a gigantic workforce of like 300 people or 400 people. Of course, you have the other side of the story. You have clients that they believe that doing business in the Philippines is the same thing as doing business in US or doing business in other countries, which is not true, right? You need to adapt to the local market. You need to adapt to the local people. You need to understand the market. You need to understand the country, study the country before you start doing business. And you had clients that they had gigantic plans as well, and they have the right product. They just did not learned, or they didn't make the effort to understand how to sell that product, considering the specifics of the Philippine customers or the Philippines traditions, for example. So I would say that the majority of our clients, not talking about individual cases here, but the most part of our clients, they are very, very happy with the Philippines. They are facing two digits growth every year, so they do not regret at all expanding their business and their operations to this country.
What is the mission and vision of Triple I Consulting?
As I've said, it's simplifying business, allowing clients and bringing them the opportunity to focus exclusively in their business and bringing them peace of mind, letting the corporate compliance to people that understand it. And but I would say yes, bringing peace of mind to our clients. That's our focus.
What goes through, or what is the exact process of you guys for recruiting clients?
Well, most of our leads, they are generated directly from our website. However, we have partnerships established with firms from different sectors in the Philippines. We are also quite often referred by chambers of commerce. We are members of several chambers of commerce. Embassies of the Philippines abroad tend to refer to Triple I as well, to companies coming from those countries. So we built a very important brand throughout these 9 years of existence. And we are known as a company that focus in providing an excellent service to our clients. That is our priority. And because of that, fortunately, we are often referred by, as I've said, the foreign affairs agencies of the Philippines spread it all over the world, and also by chambers of commerce. And organically, we also generate lots of leads throughout our website. And of course, nowadays you have to be very, very focused in social media, which eventually also brings us some clients that want to understand more about the Philippines, and they read our articles in both social media or magazines or in the press. So yes, we have also a proactive approach, but the majority of our clients, they contact us because they were referred by companies that are already in the Philippines, by chambers of commerce, or by, for example, embassies or consulates of the Philippines all over the world.
So for employees or potential employees, what is the process that they have to go through, and what is it that you look for when you hire new employees?
Talented people, regardless of their background. Talented people. That's the. I mean, obviously everyone wants to hire smart people, qualified, efficient, hardworking people that are willing to go the extra mile. But in Triple I, if you are someone who wants to thrive in the management consulting industry, and if you believe if you have a background in both economics, in business, feel free to contact us, send us your resume. We are, as I said, we are an organization that is working at 2 digits growth year on year, so we are permanently expanding our workforce. So we are more than welcome to speak to you. We are more than happy to meet new people. And yes, most of all, if you believe that you are someone that wants to build their career in a growing organization and have an international exposure to companies coming from very different industries, feel free to contact us, and we are more than happy to speak to you and hopefully have the chance to work with you in the future or in the present.
Can you say that the businesses of your clients have grown considerably since they started working with Triple I Consulting?
As I mentioned, yes. I mean, across different industries. So we serve clients that come from the pharmaceutical industry, renewable energy, BPO industry. What I see that there is, of course, BPO industry represents about 10%, if I'm not mistaken, of the Philippines GDP. So of course, there is always a big industry a very big industry in that industry. But I would say the sector that we have been seeing a gigantic growth, a massive growth, is certainly in the pharmaceutical industry and the renewable energy one. We see that there is a big industry from some of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world and renewable energy as well. Philippines, as we know, has the big potential in that area, in the green energy. So we see that those are two areas where we are focused, and we are very motivated to promote the Philippines out there.
What are the common misconceptions that you usually face with regards to clients when they're looking to outsource here in the Philippines?
Well, if, for example, sometimes when you speak with a Spanish company, they might think that Philippines still speaks Spanish, which sometimes, or most of the times, is not the case anymore, except some regions of the Philippines. So that is one. I would say that the fact that the lack of cultural barriers that you have in the Philippines when compared to other countries in the region. And going back to what we've discussed, some companies, they still underestimate the fact that you are in a country that has their own identity, a country that has their own ideals, okay? And when coming to a different country, regardless if they have as I've said in the past, even if English is widespread all over the Philippines, and they share that common language with you, does not mean that you have a full understand and grasp of the country. You need to still understand the culture and the type of market that you are expanding to. So underestimating the difficulty when entering a new market is it often happens with some of our clients, and that's our job, is to educate our client and make him understand that he cannot underestimate the hurdles that he will face when entering a new market.
Do you have any memorable experiences here in the Philippines that you can share with us?
I can tell you that I would say the first day that I arrived in the Philippines, so I came from Singapore. That was the country where I was working for before the Philippines. And Singapore, you know, it's a small country. People are very close in the Singaporean society. They don't have that much contact with the outside world, and the Philippines being something different and with so many islands, and it's somehow unknown for them. They would keep raising my attention to the fact that the Philippines might not be as safe as Singapore. Are you really sure you want to move there? Is not going to be something that you will regret in the future. Well, in fact, me having lived in several countries around the world, I know how wrong stereotypes can be. And that has been proven to be the fact. I mean, from the first day that I arrived in the Philippines until now, I cannot regret. There's not one single day that I regret coming to the Philippines. Of course, I still struggle with the traffic. I believe everyone that lives in the Philippines still does. But aside from that, yes, I mean, there is so many experiences, and the best thing that the Philippines can bring you is people, and obviously the amazing islands that you have out there. But yes, I mean, maybe the fact that the number of flights that I got canceled due to bad weather, maybe that's one of the bad and most memorable experiences that I had, was back in 2013, where we planned together with 20 friends of mine to have our Christmas and New Year's in Boracay, and there was bad weather. I don't know what was the name of I believe it was a typhoon that we had back in 2013. And yes, we had everything booked in Boracay at, I would say at 8 p.m. No, 31st of December. We were still in Manila with everything booked in to go to Boracay. We convinced a friend of ours that hesitated to go to Boracay to actually fly there. His airlines that he was flying with, which was AirAsia, they actually flew over there, and eventually the plane overshot the runway, and we were seeing his plane right in CNN. Oh my goodness. His plane overshot the runway, and obviously we did not manage to get to Boracay, but we ended up having a great New Year's Eve in Cebu, which was totally unexpected, with 20 friends of ours coming from the different parts of the globe. So yes, I mean, that was one of the vast memorable experiences that I have when traveling in the Philippines.
So for our last question, how can anyone who's interested in Triple I Consulting get in touch with you, either potential clients or employees?
So they can visit us at tripliconsulting.com. Obviously, we have our site. Feel free to reach me directly through either social networks or professional networks such as LinkedIn, or contact us at our general email at info@tripliconsulting.com. We'll be happy to have a conversation with you, either if you are interested to work with us or to work for us. We'll be more than happy to speak to you. We're always welcoming new people, new opportunities, and yeah, do not hesitate.
Thanks for being on the show, Victor. We appreciate you for sharing all that insight and for that good story that you just shared with us.
My pleasure, and thank you for the invitation as well.
Again, that was Victor Viana. He has been with Triple I Consulting since 2012 and is currently the sales and marketing director of the company. Victor has helped the company grow considerably in size and revenue since then. He's very passionate about his work. His passion led him around the world and has worked with prestigious companies. If you've missed this interview, you can listen to it again on offshoring.com.ph. It's also available on SoundCloud and iTunes.
You're listening to our regular podcast, Offshoring and Outsourcing, and now one of our sponsors is joining us to have a chat. It's Adam O'Connor. Adam's a sales director with Cloudstaff, a business process outsourcer based predominantly in Clark in the Philippines, but also with offices in Manila. Adam, welcome to Offshoring and Outsourcing.
Thanks, Wayne. Good morning. How are you?
I'm very well, and thank you for joining us as a sponsor. Adam, can you fill us in on what it is that Cloudstaff offers to the market?
Cloudstaff offers a wide range of different skill sets to the market. We provide a low-cost offshore solution for Western businesses to be able to utilize the skills that we have here and make sure that they're getting the right people at the right cost for their businesses.
Now, Adam, where would you position Cloudstaff in the spectrum of business process outsourcers? I mean, some have as few as 10 or 20 staff, and some have thousands of staff. Where do you fit into the spectrum?
Currently, we're just over 1,000 staff. In terms of the skill sets that we do, we focus on a wide range of skills, which allows companies to have a team of differentiating skills and competencies within one location. We don't focus on just one area, such as accounting or teleservices. We bring teams together that work for the same company.
Adam, some of the businesses that we talk to make a big distinction between offshoring and outsourcing. Where do you see Cloudstaff sitting?
I think we are an offshoring company. I think you can outsource within the same country as you're in. A lot of companies, if we use Australia as an example, will outsource their IT functions to a company within Australia. The offshoring element means we do have an Australian entity, but we primarily focus all of our talent that we give to companies from the Philippines at this moment in time.
And who's your typical customer, or if that's not a fair question, can you give us a portrait of some of your customers?
Our typical customers are from the SMEs, small to medium enterprise category, anywhere from sort of 5 people in their office all the way up to 2,000, 3,000 people within their Western office with their teams over here.
So, Adam, SMEs who are only looking for a few staff shouldn't be put off contacting you then?
No, absolutely not. We're happy to help everybody, and we look to help everybody that we can.
And what about the larger players who are looking for a particular service, if it be, someone looking to do accounts receivable for them, or someone looking to chase outstanding debts? Do you do that kind of one service arrangement that some of the bigger BPOs do?
Yes, we do. We do large teams within one vertical for companies, but we find that once somebody's got something working quite well, that they'll look to expand. But we definitely focus on one vertical if a customer wants to.
Now, Adam, I noticed on your website that the catch cry, or the slogan, if you will, and I'll mention the website, www.cloudstaff.com. The catch cry is people and technology at the heart of everything we do. Can you unpick that for us and explain how people are at the heart and how technology is at the heart of Cloudstaff?
The people that are at the heart of everything that we do, because we feel that we can supply the talent of a similar standard to the West in the roles that our customers are looking for at a fraction of the cost. To make this easy for our customers, we provide a technology suite that we've developed ourselves, which faces both the employees within Cloudstaff and the employees within Australia, and also the customer's manager view to have a look across everything. We have web applications, we have mobile applications, and we have systems to help make the transition really easy as well.
Pretty much everyone I talk to says the two things or three things that kind of everyone in the Philippines in the outsourcing industry talks to me about is that they have excellent infrastructure, and they have excellent technology, and they have excellent pools of recruits. You develop a lot of your technology in-house. Is it unique?
A lot of it is unique, Wayne. We bring together systems that we have developed ourselves into a suite which is easy accessible and gives you an unfair advantage, I guess, if I can be bold to say that allows you to train staff, keep communication with staff all from one portal. This allows us to keep up to date with what the customer's looking for, what the account managers on the ground in the Philippines are looking at, and keeps everybody informed on a real-time basis.
I see. I understand that you're an Australian firm. Is that the extent of your corporate structure?
No, we have entities in the UK, Australia, and Hong Kong, as well as in the Philippines here.
And is there an advantage to the customer in you having that multiple entity arrangement?
Customers are able to bill out of either Hong Kong or Australia. Some of our customers, not all of our customer base is based out of Australia. Depending on where customers are based, they can choose which entity to bill out of and which entity to actually hold a contract with.
What about management? Is your management Australian-based?
No, our management is all on the ground in the Philippines, and we combine Filipino management and Western management as well.
Now, that's another thing that I hear a lot from BPOs is that they have Filipino managers. Are they senior managers within Cloudstaff?
We do have some senior management. The senior management team of Cloudstaff is split between Western and Filipino.
Oh, I see. Adam, we're running out of time, but if you had a message for prospective customers about why Cloudstaff is the place they should be looking for their offshoring, what would the message be?
I guess Cloudstaff has four key differentiators from ourselves and the competition. One of them is how we recruit. Everybody has the same set of talent that they recruit from, but we have recruitment locations situated in Makati, here in Clark, and also down in Cebu, which gives us the breadth of the Philippines. We use the training simulators that places candidates in real-world situations, so when they come to our customers, they're fully prepared. We're able to write those training systems with the help of our customers specifically for them. Our systems that we've already covered previously make the ongoing relationship between the staff here in the Philippines and the staff in the West, wherever you may be, seamless and easy. Our ecosystem of tools with mobile apps for the staff here allows them to be able to carry on working no matter what's going on. And our culture, we have an aim to be the number one workplace in the Philippines. We put in a lot of strategy around retention and keeping our staff happy. We have a number of different social events outside of work, such as monthly barbecues, but we also have clubs that the staff join with outside interests to make sure that we are one big family. And I would encourage anybody who's interested to actually come over here and have a look at the operation themselves, which I'd be happy to show them, and they can see it for themselves.
Adam, speaking of people coming over to see you, how do people get in touch with you?
They can either via the website, which is www.cloudstaff.com, or alternatively, they can email me directly at adam@cloudstaff.com.
And that's Cloudstaff, CLOUDSTAFF, all one word.
Correct.
Adam, it's been a pleasure having you on Offshoring and Outsourcing, and we do thank you for your sponsorship of the podcast.
Thanks, Wayne. I appreciate the time.
Welcome to the Outsourcing and Offshoring in the Philippines podcast. On air with us today is Mr. James Pacaba of Flipside Digital Content Company Incorporated. James is a very experienced financial professional. He specializes in financial modeling and corporate valuation, so he has helped multiple startups get going in the business world. James is also a professor at the De La Salle University, and he is currently the Vice President, GM, and Chief Financial Officer of Flipside Digital, all the while having a seat as one of the board of directors. So it's a real honor having you on the show with us today, James. Thank you for taking time to get on the show today.
Thanks, Henry. It's a pleasure to be here.
To get started, can you give us an introduction about who you are and what you do for Flipside?
Well, I'm essentially the head of all Flipside operations right now. I report to our CEO, Anthony De Luna. So I'm pretty much a jack of all trades. I worry about new business, particularly when you talk about the business of digital publishing right now. There's a lot of interesting things that are happening in the market. So it's my job to spot new opportunities and to direct our resources to get clients and exploit those opportunities.
And how did you get into this type of work?
It actually started when we were looking for investment. I started out as a financial consultant with Anthony, and after we were able to close the deal for investment, they asked me to stay on board first as CFO and then eventually to head the operation.
And Flipside Digital Content Company is different from other BPOs here in the Philippines. Can you tell us how it's different from the other BPOs?
Well, the core business of Flipside Digital is really has to do with electronic publishing. So converting physical content like books into digital content. So ebooks, PDFs, and other forms of content. We've branched out a bit in terms of just content conversion and move towards content creation as well. We have a large Fortune 500 company, which I'm under NDA, so I can't disclose which one it is, for whom we create content as well. When you talk about what's different about Flipside Digital, it's really we are one of the best conversion houses in the world for converting into EPUB. Actually, if you look at the Apple website, there's only 15 Apple-approved conversion houses, and we're the only Philippine conversion house. So we have a long history of working with Apple and are conversant with the most stringent standards in the market.
With regards to your clients, what kind of clients do you usually look for, and how may they get in touch with you guys?
We have a mix of clients. What do you call this? Mostly in digital publishing, but anyone who deals with essentially electronic book content is a potential client. So we have clients who are part of the digital publishing supply chain, so printers who need our services in order to fill gaps in their service line. So, for example, CPI in the UK, one of the largest printers in the world, is a client. We also work directly with publishers. So we work with publishers like Pottermore, for example, Simon & Schuster, Fan Macmillan, Taylor & Francis, among others. So some of the largest publishers in the world as well. And pretty much anyone who owns a platform for distributing content and needs allied services to get participants in their ecosystem to get more content online is a potential client or partner for us as well. We have a website, flipsidecontent.com. So there's of course a contact us form there for anyone who's interested.
Awesome. Can you tell us about the experiences of your clients, or can you share any testimonials from them?
Well, I mean, in terms of like direct testimonials, I'm not sure I have one, but I mean, all our clients are long-term clients. So, for example, for Pottermore, we've been working with them for a very long time. We've translated most of their books in upwards of 20 languages. That's for us. That's the gold standard for electronic publishing, because they need the highest level of quality in terms of conversion. Our relationship with CPI also spans decades. So I think if you're in terms of testimonials, I think the client staying with us for that long, despite players in the market from India and other and China, the fact that they've stayed with us for so long, I think is a great testimonial.
Since you mentioned a while ago that you're a jack of all trades, can you tell us what's your favorite part about your job right now at Flipside?
Well, I think it's really, taking a look at the electronic publishing market, and as well as broader content market, and, seeing where content creation is headed and looking for opportunities for us to grow our business. I think that's really interesting. We're in a time when a lot of interesting things are happening, at all stages of the digital publishing supply chain. So how people are creating content, how that content is curated, edited, how that content enters new kinds of marketplaces to reach a broader range of consumers than ever before. I think that's really interesting, and really studying that and finding opportunities for us, I think, is the most interesting part of my job.
And with regards to your company, what do you think makes the Philippines and Flipside Digital different compared to your other competitors that are on the market?
Well, for us, definitely it's quality control. It's really what distinguishes us from all the other lower priced competitors. I mean, our positioning is interesting because we're a boutique conversion house. So, we're not huge, but that's by choice, because we subscribe to standards of quality which our clients have come to expect. And that's not something that you can do with a very large, low-cost operation.
Can you tell us if you know about the inspiration on how Flipside Digital came to be?
Well, our CEO actually has been in ebooks since the beginning. He used to be director for digital content for Barnes & Noble. So when ebooks, during the first internet bubble, when ebooks looked like they were going to be a significant part of readers' consumption of content, he suggested to Barnes & Noble to set up their their ebook production facility in the Philippines, because of there's no language barrier. We speak great English. There's a lot of good developer talent here. So he saw that opportunity. But of course, we all know that the first internet bubble burst, and a lot of businesses went out of ceased to exist, including the subsidiary of Barnes & Noble that was doing ebook conversion. Our CEO felt that the opportunity would come for ebooks to become a significant part of consumption, so he kept the team alive, doing mostly digitization and indexing work. And then when the Kindle came out, and then later on the iPad, and ebooks started to take off, then the business was able to repivot into EPUB conversion, and that's really when it started to get big.
And for anyone interested in outsourcing with Flipside Digital Content Company Incorporated, what would be your best advice for them?
I think the most important thing is for them to have an idea of the user experience that they want, what features they need in terms of the content, because there's really a broad range of things that can be done with content, and sometimes the literal translation of content into a digital version of it doesn't add the most value as far as the consumers are concerned. So try to think big, be creative, and we're happy to let them know what's possible in terms of technology today.
What are the common misconceptions that you usually get from clients?
Misconception. Usually we do run into problems when it comes to, clients meeting, having an idea on what quality standards they want, like in terms of, for example, how much proofreading they need done on the content, how exact does the conversion need to be. So, sometimes they pay for a lower level of quality, but they expect the highest level. So sometimes, sometimes there's an incongruence there.
For our last question, to wrap things up, how can anyone who's interested in Flipside Digital Content Company get in touch with you? And where can they find your physical location?
As I mentioned, you can reach us at flipsidecontent.com. There's a contact us page there. Our physical office is located in Eastwood City in Manila, Philippines. So we're fairly easy to find there in the ICITE building.
Awesome. Well, it was great having you with us here today, James.
All right. Thank you, Henry.
Again, that was James Pacaba, VP, GM, and CFO of Flipside Digital Content Company Incorporated. If you've missed this podcast, you can find us on www.offshoring.com.ph. Don't forget to subscribe to us on iTunes and SoundCloud to get the latest updates. My name is Henry Acosta, and you've been listening to Outsourcing and Offshoring in the Philippines podcast.
You have been listening to an episode of Offshoring and Outsourcing Philippines, a regular production of Vertical Internet Media Limited, Hong Kong, which produces internet media content for internet radio and podcasting. And you may have also heard this week Henry Acosta and Patrick Reyes. The opinions expressed on this program are strictly those of the speaker. They are not the opinions of either Vertical Internet Media, its management, or the presenters of the show. To get in touch with Vertical Internet Media Limited, head off to our website at www.offshoring.com.ph, or you can call our Australian number 0731 779900, and the voice prompts will direct you through to Offshoring and Outsourcing. It's been my pleasure to have you with us today. I wish you a very good day.